Welcome back to the Dynasty Football Key. Like and subscribe. We've got some breaking news. Calvin Ridley is signing with the Tennessee Titans. They've got DeAndre Hopkins as well and Treylon Burks on their roster. So Ridley agreeing to a 4-year deal, $92 million contract. So this is definitely at least him going to be there 3-year. I bet there'll be a 4th-year option, but looks like this would be kind of the biggest indicator that the time is up for the team waiting to see if Treylon Burks can truly replace AJ Brown. I think we've all known that at this point, but now he will not be able to get that opportunity if they have Hopkins and Calvin Ridley on the same team. There just won't be enough targets around unless someone gets injured. So for Ridley, let's take a look. Right now, currently wide receiver 56. Right ahead of him. It's really just based on age and opportunity because Amari Cooper, who's a wide receiver 1, is right ahead of him, but they're the same age, 29, going to be 30 this upcoming season. So I would say this 4-year contract, that's enough security to where, there's definitely some names above here, like a Quentin Johnson, I would move him ahead of. I think some folks are actually coming around on Jameson Williams after the way he ended this past season. But, I would probably just rather have whatever production I can get from Calvin Ridley over a Jerry Jeudy at wide receiver 49. Deontay Johnson may be taking a bit of a hit in theory going to the Panthers, but it could be a boost just based on the quarterback play in Pittsburgh. So really is, from a dynasty perspective, he's not moving up too much, but that's because no one really moved the rankings since we didn't know if he was going to stay with, the team he was on. And, maybe the targets dropped back a bit because he was definitely supposed to be the wide receiver 1 with the Jaguars. And maybe that's debatable over Christian Kirk. But with Hopkins, I definitely see it being more of a split. We have to see if anything changes there. But Hopkins was on a 2-year deal. So I could see Hopkins staying or maybe there's a trade or, anything can happen. Really, he'd still be around this wide receiver, 46 range from a dynasty perspective. It's really just based on age. For a win now team, that he'd obviously be much higher. And as far as draft pick compensation wise, a late second is probably worth what, probably a fair trade for Calvin Ridley. And for Hopkins, that's definitely a significant target threat versus what he was seeing with Treylon Burks. Again, these are from a dynasty perspective. So for 1-year windows, I'm still happy to have Hopkins. The numbers were not amazing, but you would think that Will Levis in year 2 is going to take a nice step forward. So I would say Hopkins, not too much of a change, just from a dynasty perspective. We don't know how much time he has left. It's more just a win now player. And then we can look at Will Levis, who this is the Titans also indicating that they're trying to surround him with weapons so they can decide if he's the quarterback of the future. If they can have a good season, then that will extend his opportunity and keep them from having that early draft pick next year in 2025. So QB 24 currently, I'm not going to vault him up just because they signed Calvin Ridley. Cousins just signed a 4-year deal. Who's ahead of him? Deshaun Watson has a long-term deal. A lot of other younger quarterbacks. So Levis is going to have to prove it. He has the ability to rise up, if the quarterback's ahead of him. Like, if Will Levis hits and we think we can start him year after year, then he will be ahead of Kirk Cousins just based on the age. And then Deshaun Watson has had 2 down years in a row, so he needs to have a big year as well. I could see Will Levis rising above him if somehow things don't work out in Cleveland. So in that QB 20 range, if JJ McCarthy isn't usable, then Will Levis could, has that ability to move ahead of him. We just have to see where he lands and how early he goes in the draft. So, that's pretty much it. We could take a look at Treylon Burks just really quickly. But wide receiver 78, I could see this falling because, people would much prefer even the last couple of years of Devontae Adams versus a wide receiver 3 on the Tennessee Titans. Even Rashad Bateman as wide receiver 2 for the Ravens, a low pass volume offense, potentially the 3rd option behind Mark Andrews. I might still prefer that over Burks. Maybe not. Maybe someone gets injured and he gets that opportunity. It just seems to be more of a situation where you'd want to get a rookie pick see if you can trade Treylon Burks for a 3rd round pick and just move on from there. So that's all I got for this reaction and breakdown. Like, subscribe, and let's see if anything else happens today at 4 p.m. Eastern. The new year for the NFL league switched over officially, so teams are officially announcing the signings that have been happening. Prior to this, they weren't officially, so things could have changed. So should have some more other news as well once the money gets kind of arranged on different teams' books and they can make some moves from there. All right, thanks. Talk to you soon.